Okay, and let's just get rid of this array thing عشان we don't really need that. عشان ننقله تحت and we can get a better look at it. Okay. Okay, so I need, like I said, a starting point. My starting point I need something هتبقى على طول يعني أول node. But I'm gonna need a pointer, something to point and tell me where my first node is. For that, by convention, we call the head. And head, like next, is a pointer to a node. That didn't come with us when I was moving it. So yeah, so we need, like we said, we have our node. Okay, we need our pointer to a node. Let us do that in the private variables. Node, a pointer to a node, named head. Conventionally, we name it head. And let's see later on if we need anything. Actually, no. Let's analyze it now if we need anything. Okay, I want to add into my linked list at some point, and I also want to traverse it. Not only do I need a head pointer, I actually need a pointer to the last element. Oops, I don't know. We use red to denote the pointers. Okay, so I need a pointer to my last element. عشان لما اجي add, I basically, like, let's say I have this linked list here وعايزة add مثلا the character D in it. How am I gonna do that? Remember we said we can't like say مثلا L at 3 equals D. We don't do that. We have to traverse the entire linked list. What I'm gonna do is هبتدي من head and I'm gonna keep using the next pointer and then the next pointer and the next pointer لغاية لما الاقي a node the next pointer بتاعها null and I know that that's the last node فهحط there. Okay. I feel like like logically kind of we want something to tell us where the last node is, so easily we can just say last node dot next equals الvalue اللي احنا عايزين نحطه, right? But in this case, our last node is here. Let's call that tail. By convention, we do that. A pointer to the very last node. Okay? Remember, things in red are pointers to nodes. But in this case, عايزين basically نقول tail. In that case, I want to do tail dot next equals whatever new value we want. But we do need a tail. Let's do that. Over here, node star tail. Okay. As always, when we do our classes, لازم نبتدي بالconstructor بتاعنا. So does our constructor need any parameters? Remember the other classes لما كنا بنعملهم containers زي arrays, we would يعني كان اليوزر وهو تحت في المين function initialize a linked list مثلا يسميه L like we said بيديه a size بس like I said, remember we said there's no sizes here because you just keep adding and adding and adding till the end there's no size. So it seems like we don't really need any parameters for the constructor, so the constructor will not take any parameters. But like we said, as a rule of thumb, our constructor, what we do in it, we take every single one of our private variables and we ask ourselves, is there an initial value that we can give you? And we see that. Okay, let's go back to this drawing here. لما يبقى عندي an initial, like let's pretend that we have a completely empty linked list. ايه ده؟ اوكي نشوف هنعمل ايه بالموضوع ده. an empty linked list نبتدي بنود كده. So far احنا عندنا pointer هنا points to some node. This is all we have. We have our head اللي هو a pointer to a node. And we have tail also points to a node, but it's some node, right? Initially, when our linked list is fully empty, مفيش أي nodes. What should these point to? Head و tail دول. We'll make them point to null. They point to nothing. But initially, that's what we have. Okay. whatever. Initially that's what we have. فhead equals null and tail equals null, and in fact tail equals head because our linked list is empty. بس مش مشكلة, it really doesn't make a difference. Tail equals head أو tail equals null مش فارقة. حلو قوي. So now this is what we have. And I undid it all. That's what we have. We have 2 pointers, each pointing to null. ده اللي احنا عندنا so far من ال constructor. So this call, at this point, this is what we have. Head, a pointer to a node named head that points to null, and a pointer to a node named tail that points to null. That's what we have so far. So let's do our add function. Okay. Basically, should our add function take a parameter? Remember, this is a character linked list. فأنا أكيد هكون عايزة أعمل something like l.add مثلا c. Oops. Okay, c. So we can like achieve this. You know what I mean? To add, it seems إن أنا عايزة أدي parameter. my add function هي l.add أهي هنا. عايزة أديها a parameter which has the data. car c. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's now, in our add function, we need to construct the node. فهنعمل node star. We have to make a pointer to a node. The reason I'm not gonna just say node مثلا the node I want to add to create يعني وبعدين أروح قايلة the node I want to add dot data equals c dot next. Actually, let's take a step back. Okay. لما أجي add a node خلينا نرسم our template, يعني مش template, our like little skeleton for a node هنا. هكون عايزة create node واحنا قلنا الskeleton بتاع النود بتاعنا هنا أهو. Like it is here, it has a data and a next pointer. It has a data أهو and a next pointer. Okay. When I come and I want to add a character to it, اللي هي c دي, when I want to add c into it, هضطر أعمل dot اللي هو this node بتاعتي dot data equals c ولازم أدي ال next pointer بتاعها value, otherwise it's not complete. Which it probably will be null because every time I'm adding to the end. يعني وعلى طول the interesting thing about tail is tail always, its pointer, its next pointer ده will always point to null. Next of tail will always be null because it's the very last element. It points to nothing. ما فيش حاجة بعديها, so its next is nothing. Okay. when I come to add something, this adding function adds to the end. على طول ال next بتاعها equals null. We know that. Next equals null. And its data will be whatever value we want. Let's construct that node. فنعملها هنا. Like I said, I just named this node I want to add, and I gave its data c, and I gave its next null. The reason this will not work وبعدين هضطر أعمل head, أخلي head يعني whatever, I'm gonna make them like if I'm adding, I'm gonna make wherever, okay, like I'm gonna make whatever comes before it point to it. صح? If it's at the very beginning يبقى لو دي هتبقى أول هنcheck دلوقتي. If this is the very first thing I'm gonna add هخليها هي تبقى الhead. لو دي وبعدين غير كده I'm gonna keep going and finding tail. Or sorry, I'm gonna make tail point to it. But there is really a problem here. When I come to say مثلا tail equals the node I want to add, هيحصل مشكلة because the way C++ works, when you make a variable كده عادي within a function, when the variable is defined inside the function, when you leave the function, C++ deletes it from like its memory. فهنرجع main function and that's gonna be gone. We have to use the heap memory to store it so that it can stay out of the scope of this function. But we don't do this. We make pointers. فخلينا نعمل الskeleton بتاعنا اللي هو ده. Our little skeleton هنا ده. Let's do that skeleton's code. Okay? Knowing حوار C++ ده. node star the node I want to add. Okay? بعدين the node I want to add نحط الداتا بتاعتها. it'll be at data equals C. And remember, a pointer, we use this syntax instead of the dot if it's a pointer. But in the node, I want to add at next equals null. Like we said, عشان هي هتبقى في الآخر, so we have to always, like, it's always going to point to null. If we're adding to the end, the last element always has to point to null. We have two cases here when we come to add something. When we add it, it could either be the very first element, or it could be not the first element. Those are the only two cases اللي عندي. I want to check them عشان they have different behaviors. I'll start and say if this is the very first element and thus my linked list is empty, and if my linked list is empty يبقى احنا عارفين that thus head and tail are both null. صح؟ That's يعني لما construct لأول مرة my head and tail, they're both null, that's just how I know it's empty. If head equals null, if head, like head, remember what head is. Head is not a node. Head is a pointer to a node. If this pointer points to nothing, then our linked list is empty. In this example اللي فوق, example D, head points to a node, فطبعا it's not empty. But here, head is pointing to nothing, so I know that it's empty. مفيش حاجة وراه, head is nothing. Then I know I'm inserting for the very first time. So what do I want to do? How do I put an element? I have to make head, I have to make head ده, this head يpoint للبتاع الجديد اللي أنا هحطه هنا, right? And it no longer points to null. Head now points to this new element. What am I gonna say? Oopsie. What am I going to say?